All right, so it's a couple minutes past. Should we go ahead and get started then? Let's. All right, so I'll try to sit so I can be in the camera. I'm outside of my deck. All right, so welcome everybody to our October general Zoom meeting. Looking forward to getting back to real meetings sometime soon, but who knows how long that'll be. So we'll continue the Zoom thing for the time being. Got an interesting topic tonight about volunteering at Parks and Rec. And so we'll get to that shortly. We have a wonderful young lady from Parks and Rec who's going to talk to us. Carolyn will be introducing her shortly. We're also just going to talk a little bit about the upcoming election. As all of you know, it's kind of the most, probably the most important election, certainly in my lifetime, that I've participated in, and probably will be for the foreseeable future. So we just want to give a little bit of a recap of the what's going on with the election. So without further ado, I'll just turn that over to Steve and let you talk to us about the upcoming election.
Okay. Well, we all know it's a critical election. As of yesterday, 27% of registered voters in North Carolina had voted. So that means 73% have not. So that's still a big target for us to reach out to. And of course, everyone knows how critical it is on the national level, but also in North Carolina, we have to re-elect the governor. We'd really like to take the majority in the North Carolina House and Senate. And I really think that a lot of voters don't know much about the North Carolina House and Senate. They probably don't know the name of their local House representative or senator. And in some cases, that means they won't vote. They'll maybe vote for president, but not look to the down ballot. And that's pretty critically important. That's why we want to reach out to a lot of voters and make sure they know who to support in these competitive districts. For example, Christy Clark's district in North Mecklenburg County is really critical, very competitive race, and we'd like to see her reelected. So we're fortunate this year that North Carolina chapter has hired 2 political organizers, and Sarah Kaprowski is the one working with our Central Piedmont Group. And I'll let her say hello to everybody and just quickly say what she's up to. Sarah, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm very excited to be working with you all to get our endorsed candidates elected this year. Like Steve said, we have some key ones within the Central Piedmont Group area, and we are reaching out to members and supporters of the Sierra Club to make sure they know who we've endorsed, why we've endorsed them, and to make sure that they go out and vote. We have a bunch of opportunities coming up between now and Election Day, and a few specific to the Central Piedmont Group. We are doing a special phone bank with Christy Clark's campaign, and we're doing a few text banks as well for the specific key areas within some in Mecklenburg County and Cabarrus County. So if you are interested in volunteering with us, please put your email in the chat and I will reach out to you tonight or tomorrow, actually tonight, and I will send you our upcoming volunteer opportunities within the Central Piedmont Group, but also within all of North Carolina, because what's cool and not so cool about being in a virtual world right now, we can do everything from home. So you can reach out to voters from anywhere within the state, thanks to technology, and we will get you trained up on how to use our texting and phone bank softwares as well.
Yes, you can be doing things that you're comfortable doing. If you're not comfortable making phone calls, you could be doing texting. If you don't like texting, you could be making phone calls. So different opportunities. So again, please put your name, Sarah had said in the chat, name and email, and we'll follow up with you very shortly. Carolyn Cooper will get you on to introduce our speaker.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for attending our event tonight. We're going to talk about volunteering. Since Sierra Club is not doing some service outings right now, we are encouraging people to stay involved. And one way is through Mecklenburg Parks and Recreation. So I'm going to introduce Karen Howard. She has worked with Mecklenburg Parks and Recreation for about over 20 years. as a therapeutic recreation specialist and in volunteer services. She's worked tirelessly over the last 3 years to improve the volunteer program in Mecklenburg County. She attends and leads volunteer projects throughout our county and has learned a lot about our parks, our nature preserves, our greenways, and trails in Mecklenburg County. She earned a bachelor's degree from Catawba College in therapeutic recreation, and she has a national certification and state license in therapeutic recreation. And she also is a member of the North Carolina Association of Volunteer Administrators, working towards maintaining a state certification there. She is a longtime outdoor lover. She's a gardener, a singer, a mother of 2, and a grandmother of 3 active boys. I've been able to work with Karen at several great parks here in Charlotte, Freedom Park, Reedy Creek, and McDowell, removing invasives, and just really enjoying meeting people and being outside. So thank you, Karen, for volunteering to help us tonight.
Thanks very much, Carolyn. I see we have a couple of people here and a name I haven't seen in a while. So Mary Lou, I'm glad to see that you're on with us tonight. And a few other people hopefully will join us as we go along. Thanks for the nice introduction. I do want to go ahead and share my screen here. And we will go into my little bit more formal presentation. I like the bells and whistles. So I'm going to be talking a whole lot about the nature preserves, the parks, trails, greenways, and of course about volunteers and how Sierra Club members can help build community. So what do I mean by community and why am I talking about that when we're talking about volunteers in the Sierra Club? Well, if you go to the dictionary, which of course is online now, there are several definitions of community, but the one that I really want to focus on is the one that's bolded at the bottom. That's a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. And that's certainly what brings Sierra Club members together and what brings us together tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit just briefly about what I'm going to say, and then I'll say it, and then we'll have questions and answers. You know, why volunteers? Why are we so worried about volunteers? I'll talk a little bit more about how the Mecklenburg County Park and Recreation Volunteer Program works, about projects and events that we put on through the department, the challenges that we have, which are many, and the successes that we have, which are also many, and how you can get involved. And we will have question and answer at the end. If you do have questions as we go along, I understand if you put them in the Q&A, then we'll be able to go back to those. Excuse me. But before we start talking about information about volunteers, let's find out a little bit about what you might know. Think for a minute about how many nature preserves are in our system. Everybody knows about McDowell and Reedy Creek and Latta, but are you aware of some of the others that we do have? Actually, in our system, we have a total of 26 nature preserves, and that's over 7,600 acres throughout the county. Now we have our newest nature center that's getting ready to open. It may be closer to you than you think. Excuse me, it is at the new Stevens Creek Nature Preserve, which is actually a Mint Hill address. It's over off of Lawyers Road. That's on Thompson Road. It's, you know, of course, several openings have been delayed by the world situation right now, but we do hope to open it soon. And our nature centers while they are still closed to the general public, are starting to do some limited programming. And we are taking in just a few volunteers for those. And you may also know that we have the brand new Quest Nature Center that is up at Latta Nature Preserve. That is now combined with the Carolina Raptor Center. Again, the actual public opening has been delayed due to COVID and some other factors, but we're really looking forward to that center opening as well. Now we talk about greenways. Not sure if you know or if you are aware of how many miles of greenway are in the grand plan. I've been talking with our planners this week. There are actually 308 miles of greenway that are in our plan that we hope to build out over the next 25 years. A greenway, we do consider it a linear park. A fully developed greenway is a 10-foot wide paved accessible path with a 20-foot buffer on each side, at least. Some are wider than that, some are a little narrower than that we're very aware of. But at this point, we do have 55 miles of completed developed greenway. And there are 55 miles complete. And we have 44 miles that are now in progress in various stages of development and building. So a lot of those are adding to existing greenways or connecting pieces that aren't quite connected yet. We are working on the piece of Little Sugar Creek Greenway, connecting Park Road Shopping Center down to Tyvola Road. Thank goodness. That's been a piece that's been missing for a while. And Toby Creek Greenway is heading for NODA, heading for the North Davidson neighborhood to connect with Little Sugar Creek Greenway. And the south end of Little Sugar Creek Greenway is already in progress to the James K. Polk site. Heading for the state line. So we have a lot of great things that are in the works, and we hope to build out 10 miles per year. We're really working on getting those built out. And the other thing that we may be talking about right now is our 2020 master plan. That has been a huge process, and people may be wondering if you can still give input for that. Because the public meetings are now completed. Yes, you can still give input on the master plan. And I will have the link to the public input site on my last slide today. So we are still taking input on that. So back to volunteers. Why would we use volunteers? Well, we have mutual needs. Our agency and the community all want high quality services and facilities. So by utilizing volunteers, we can, we can help each other to reach that goal. We can expand our workforce without increasing our cost. But trust me, volunteer time is extremely valuable, and I'll get to that a little bit later in my presentation. Also, the people who come to volunteer, if they come with an organization, it's that organization's investment in the community. There's kind of that unwritten social contract that we help each other out. We have that mutual investment in the community. Hello, kitty cat. My office assistant has arrived. Volunteerism is also about individuals giving back, and it gives them a chance to utilize very unique talents, abilities, and skills that they may have. On this slide, you see some tree planting that was going on just this past week with Trees Charlotte, helping to enhance the trees along Irwin Creek Greenway. So ways that in park and recreation, we use volunteers absolutely department-wide. We use them in our recreation centers, in our nature preserves, on our greenways, with our park operations and maintenance staff. COVID, of course, has put a damper on a lot of that right now, but we are starting to welcome volunteers back. And again, I'll talk a little bit more about that in our challenges and successes. Ways that people can volunteer. We do have advisory councils. We have ongoing or registered volunteers, and we do have projects and events, which are considered single date volunteers. So I'll talk more about each of those. We do have 10 advisory councils right now. Each of them consists of a minimum of 9 members. And you can see on this slide that we have advisory councils that address virtually every part of our department and every part of our county. We have regional advisory councils for the North, Central, and South region, athletics, aquatics, golf, senior citizens, cooperative extension, and we have especially focus on advisory councils for our greenways and trails and our stewardship advisory council. So these are advocacy boards. They are not necessarily decision-making bodies, but they do gather information, and it's an important way for our department and our community to talk together and listen to each other, so that we can each see what the other needs, and how we can move together in a positive direction. Greenways and trails really advocate for the expansion, excuse me, the expansion and maintenance of the greenway system throughout Mecklenburg County. And the Stewardship Advisory Council was established in 1993, so they've been around a long time. And the whole vision of the Division of Nature Preserves and Natural Resources is for natural communities to exist within Mecklenburg County in perpetuity, and for these interconnected, high-quality natural areas to benefit and be valued by all citizens. So the Stewardship Advisory Council really guides the Division of Natural Resources and Nature Preserves. So the next category of volunteers I'm going to talk about is our ongoing or our registered volunteers. Throughout our department, we have coaches, just a few right now, but we'll be slowly bringing back sports throughout the department. Tutors and mentors, program assistants, advisory council members, they do have to put in an application and be approved to be advisory council members. And we have our dedicated project captains. Carolyn Cooper is one of our project captains. Thank you very much. And these are volunteers who are registered through our volunteer application system. They've been background checked, and they are trained or experienced or both in order to lead volunteer groups independently. So we really appreciate our project captains. And then in projects and events, we take in all kinds of groups for projects in parks and nature preserves and the greenways and trails. And we are starting to welcome those groups back. They're staying small to start, but more and more people are contacting us about coming to volunteer. People want to come out, they're ready to come out and help. And we're trying to start lining up more and more of those opportunities. We have corporate and business groups. We have community and neighborhood groups, students from colleges and universities. Yes, they are still coming. Scout groups, church groups, and of course the Sierra Club. We would love to see you guys coming out to volunteer. The corporate and business groups very often have green teams, or they do corporate community days of service. And we really appreciate it when they come out for that. Community and neighborhood groups often have a special investment in the area where they live. So we do try to plug them in where they live. The students may need just general community service hours, and they choose to come and do some of those with Park and Recreation, which we're happy to document for them. Or they may be enrolled in a specific curriculum. We get a lot of biology and environmental education students who come out and put in hours with Park and Recreation. Scout groups and church groups kind of goes without saying. And we do have a newly enhanced and updated high-level Scout Award process for both Eagle Scouts and for Girl Scout Gold Awards. So that's been going very well. We've been having several projects in process lately. Specific to natural resources, these are all the opportunities that are listed here are volunteers that we require an ongoing commitment for. Again, some of these are on hold right now since the nature centers are still closed to the general public, but we are taking in some volunteers because animals still need to be cared for, grounds still need to be cared for, and the nature centers are doing some limited programming now that people pre-register for. They're not doing as many drop-in programs as they used to do. But right now there is a need for some volunteers. So we always appreciate finding out where people's interests lie and be able to hook you up when the time comes. And then focusing on the trails, construction of new trails. The group in this picture at the bottom here came out to help with constructing the brand new trails at Stevens Creek Nature Preserve. It's easy to take in machinery to cut a trail initially, but it really takes a lot of people power in order to get the slope on the trail correct, get the drainage correct, and really make sure that those trails are in good shape and ready to be used. So we have used a lot of volunteers to help with new trails and also the rehab of older trails. I believe Carolyn's been on a couple of those. We've been at Reedy Creek and a couple of other places, really fixing up the older trails that may not have been cut properly or that have just gotten eroded. So we really appreciate that help. Lots and lots of invasive removal, absolutely. And we always really appreciate our experienced members who know what to look for and really know the proper way to remove invasive plants and help the environment. And then we have a lot of general upkeep as well, removing limbs. There are a lot of cleanup projects going on right now because those are very easy to line up and very simple for people to stay spread out and really pay attention to those new safety procedures that we have. So we have had some challenges, of course, in utilizing volunteers. One of those is the sheer size of our department. I always tell volunteers when they come out that facility-wise, our staff have more than 230 parks and facilities in our system that they take care of on a daily and weekly basis. They have not stopped working, and park use is at an all-time high. Thank you, COVID-19. We're glad that people are coming out and really utilizing the parks, the nature preserves, the trails, just everywhere in order to get out of the house in a safe way. So park use has really gone through the roof. And so the upkeep has not stopped at all. So we really appreciate that people are seeing, oh, there's a lot of people out here. So we want to come and help to help keep up these parks because we know they're being used more than ever. You know, COVID really shut our whole operation down for a couple of months. But now we are learning new ways to certainly to take in volunteers and to do our jobs in a safe way. It's been a challenge to maintain a lot of our partnerships during the pandemic, certainly on both sides. I know that back in March, I had probably 10 really huge corporate groups that were about to come out and work in the parks, and that just got totally shut down. So it's been a little bit frustrating trying to maintain those connections, but we're doing our best. We always try to keep our information out there. And the volunteer page on Park and Recreation is always updated just as currently as I can make it. Another challenge is matching projects to groups or to individuals. Just a case in point, I had a young gentleman who contacted me about wanting to help with animal care in the nature centers. Can I do that? Well, I'm reaching out to the nature centers. Are you ready to take somebody in? Here's the process if they give the approval. But he wasn't interested in working with reptiles. So well, what kind of animals are in the nature centers? Reptiles, turtles, snakes, frogs, toads. Those are the kinds of animals they have. He wasn't interested in that. So it wasn't a good match for him. You know, also there may be groups that want to come out, excuse me, and help with something that we're not quite ready to have volunteers helping with. or at this point, it was a challenge to have very large groups. We're not at that point yet, and we may never be. We may never take groups of 150 volunteers again. But we may shift the way that we do that. So we're trying to rise to that challenge. It's also a challenge to make new connections. How do people find us when we're not, when we're not in the office all the time, or when we're not out in the parks as much as we used to be? Retaining those volunteers is always a challenge. We want people to come and enjoy themselves, feel like they're safe coming out, so that they will come back. And as always, changes within the department. We're changing the way that we do just about everything. So that's a huge challenge. But we have had a lot of successes. I count it as a great success. I took an idea from that Association of Volunteer Administrators to send out a survey to my volunteers. How are you doing? When will you feel safe to come back? And what's going to help you to feel safe during this time? And we got really great productive feedback from that survey. So that's something that I hope to do on a regular basis. Because we got great feedback from that survey, we have implemented new safety procedures. The things that were at the top of the list that people said would help them to feel safe was to have smaller groups. And we do that. We limit our groups to 20 or fewer. Sometimes we set up shifts in order to maintain those numbers. Another thing they said they wanted was more safety training on those procedures. So we do that. We now have a consistent safety guide that we send to our volunteers whenever they sign up for a project. I'll talk a little more about that in a second. But we also maintain our distancing and our sanitation procedures, and we do provide extra PPE if that's needed. We do ask volunteers to bring their own work gloves and face covering for their own health and safety, but we do always have extras available, and we're willing to provide that. We do have more corporate and group projects that are being planned right now. And the best news is that the value of volunteer time that I talked about earlier has increased this year to $27.20 an hour. That's national average, and that's just a dollar amount. The benefits of volunteers coming out and helping are more than I can possibly mention right now. The benefits to the volunteer, to our department, to the environment, are just astronomical. So the big question, how can Sierra Club members help, like right now? Right now, the very first projects that I started putting out there are called A Walk in the Park. We do those every Tuesday from 11 to 12 at locations all over the county. So we have been in parks, at nature preserves, and on the greenways. And we've had a few volunteers who are now absolute regulars for those. And we have others who have come multiple times, others who come just once. But we are doing sign up for all of those through Sign Up Genius now. And that works very well because that sign up serves as an electronic signature on our waiver and acknowledgement of risk. So we no longer have to pass around a paper and a pen. As long as people sign up through the Sign Up Genius, they are already taken care of. And it's a great way for us to see who's signing up and who's interested. And Sign Up Genius sends an automatic reminder a day or two before the project. So it's all good. And we have estimated that our volunteers, we started the very end of July. And in that time, our volunteers have picked up probably by now, the last figures I pulled were about 2,250 pounds of trash. We've added a couple 100 pounds to that now. So I'm estimating we've picked up more than 2,500 pounds of trash just since the end of July. Very successful. Another thing that's coming back right now is the Weed Warriors at McDowell Nature Preserve. Those take place the fourth Saturday of every month. The next one is this Saturday. If you happen to be on this meeting right now and you want to sign up for that, you can go to parkandrec.com to the volunteering page, and the Sign Up Genius link is there. That Sign Up Genius for this month will close at midnight tonight because Ariel Lowry at McDowell will send a confirmation to the volunteers tomorrow. But those are, let's see, we already have that lined up for November. Yes, it's the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Yes, it's going to happen. And then I believe we take a break in December, and then the next ones take place in January and February and so on. So that's invasive removal, super important. And we always appreciate everybody's help there. Another thing that you can do right now is sign up for Saturday park projects. We only have one more date before we pretty much close those down for the winter. That'll be November 7th. We have a project going on at Latta Nature Preserve. That'll be 9 a.m. to 11, cleaning up the gardens up there. And we also have a big park and neighborhood cleanup that's going to happen at TC Elder Park. That is off on Rockwell Church Road in northeast Charlotte, I guess that is, right off of Mallard Creek Road. So those are two that are coming up. And the cleanup at TC Elder is also a partnership with Keep Charlotte Beautiful. So we'll also, and it may also include marking storm drains. So those are all really good components to that. Last but not least, we have a cash in, trash out at Stevens Creek Nature Preserve. So if you want to go and help set geocaches out at Stevens Creek, that's a great opportunity. And there will be other geocaching opportunities, and that goes on a consistent basis. Let's see. Oh, the cash in, trash out will be on November 14th. So that will be that week after the TC Elder Park cleanup. Okay, so how do you sign up to volunteer? You can go to the Park and Rec website, parkandrec.com, and go to the volunteering button that's down at the bottom. That takes you straight to the volunteer page. You can receive the volunteer news. I email that out every month, and it is posted on the website. And you can contact me. I have two emails. The volunteer services is a general email box, and you have my email right there and my office phone number. And last but not least, to give input on the MEC playbook, the Park and Recreation Master Plan 2020, we will be accepting public input through October 31st. And the website is right on this slide. And when you reach that website, you click on the blue participate button and off you go. You can see the big ideas that have come out of the public meetings and give your input. So that is my presentation. I'm going to take that back down now. So do we have any questions? I don't see any in the Q&A.
I'll go ahead.
Steve?
Thank you for a very interesting presentation. I'm glad we have it recorded so that we'll be able to post it on our website to get it out to a lot more people. The question I had is, you mentioned the advisory councils. I was wondering if there's a list of openings or when opening, how would we find out when openings occur on the advisory councils?
I would contact the staff member who is the liaison for each advisory council. And those are posted on parkandrec.com. Steve, do I have your email address? Because it can be a little bit tricky to find.
Okay, it's skapolsky@mindspring.com. It's on the emails, I think, that went out.
Okay, sure.
And I'll get it to you.
Okay, because then I can send you a direct link to that page. You should be able to go to parkandrec.com, and down at the bottom, I'm trying to remember what the button says, because usually it's inside the department, and then that will have a link to the advisory council page. And all of the staff liaisons are listed there, and you can email them directly.
Great, thank you.
Mhm. Any more questions for me? Okay, well, I see something. Okay, starting slowly and, okay, Leah says, wonderful that you are starting slowly and carefully on volunteer activities. What are you hoping to move to next, assuming we can do so safely? It may be that, I mean, we are just increasing the opportunities. So those are all listed in the volunteer news. So groups can request group projects. And the main thing that I tell people is we just need to know where you're going to be and when you're going to be there, and you sign off on our paperwork. And you are welcome to come out to any of our properties and help clean up anytime that you like. The kind of heavier working projects are probably not going to return until spring. The mulching, the heavy limb trimming and brush clearing, stuff like that, those are probably not going to return until spring. But the invasive removal has already been reactivated. And those may also be taking place at the other nature preserves. I'm pretty sure of that. And you can contact me anytime to receive information directly. Let's see, another one.
Okay, and so I'll go next. I guess my biggest question is, if we wanted on the Sierra Club to organize a group of volunteers to go do something, whether it's, you know, invasive plant removal or creek cleanup or trash pickup or whatever, what's our best avenue to find out where your need is? Like where would you like us to go do those activities? How do we get that information?
Well, the best thing really is to contact me for park, nature preserve, and so on, for those opportunities. For stream cleanups, you need to go to Charlotte-Mecklenburg Stormwater, because it's kind of an interesting arrangement. Park and recreation property ends at the banks of a stream.
I see.
And the water itself is under stormwater's purview. So that can also open opportunities that are not within park and recreation properties. And we work with stormwater all the time. So it's not a big deal. If you end up with 40 people who want to come out, you can have 20 in the stream and 20 who are cleaning up in the park around that stream. Or if there are people who don't want to go in the water, then you'd already be cleared to go ahead and clean up in the park around it. We've done that at Camp Green, for instance, a number of times. And there are plenty of others. So wherever there's a waterway, or if you want to be at Ladder Nature Preserve, and some people want to do the shoreline and others want to actually get in the water, then again, that's a partnership, and we're happy to line that up. Basically, every place needs some attention right now.
I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, thank you, Karen. And I have a few, a little bit more information too on opportunities for volunteering if there aren't any more questions. So I'll go ahead and screen. And these are just some other outdoor options for volunteering. The picture is a group of, a very enthusiastic group, I would say, of some of Carolyn's workers on one of our service outings. They had a great time and got a lot of work done. So other opportunities might be state parks and trails. I've got some links here, and all of this information will be on our website along with the links to Karen's information for the recording of the video. So what we've got here is some people who went on one of Steve Kapolsky's annual Super fall hikes at Brown Mountain. And one of the things that Steve's been thinking about doing is restoring a fire tower to that location. So there used to be one there that would give you a view that you can see from right here. So who knows, maybe sometime in the future, you'll hear some information about picking that idea back up. And then besides the state parks, there's also NC Trails, where you can help with managing trails. Mountain trail work, one interesting option is the Friends of the Mountains to Sea Trail. Are really organized, and reach manager Betsy Brown tells me that, and sorry if there's any breakup here, I just got that internet unstable message, tells me that each section of that trail has a lead, a volunteer lead that you can get information from. So you can contact her for more information, go to their website, and you don't have to be a member of Friends of Mountains to Sea Trail to volunteer. The Blue Ridge Parkway work is seasonal, so that is shutting down for right now, but Caitlin Wath is the person you would contact, once again, the website. Carolina Mountain Club, same thing, go to the website and see about information on that. If you're out that way, you might as well make good use of your time. If you would like to play in the woods, maybe, there's the Forest Service, their connection right here. And Grandfather Mountain has other options, just as Karen was saying, that there's a lot of different things you can do besides getting your hands dirty. And Grandfather has those as well, but once again, seasonal. So as I said, you can go to our website. I'm going to be posting the information there. Here's our link, and charlottesierraclub.org for short will get you there. And you can also follow us on Facebook, where I'll be putting a lot of the same information. I see everyone has joined, or a lot of people have joined from Meetup, so you know how to get there. But if anybody doesn't, that is where you go once you're on Meetup. So that's all I have. And thank you.
All right. Thanks, Rini, for that wrap up. Thanks, Karen, so much for coming and joining us. Smallest crowd tonight, but a devoted set of members who are all interested in volunteering. And we're going to put a recording of this out on our website for along with the links for some volunteer activities. So I think that hopefully, especially when the pandemic kind of calms down, maybe we'll be able to get some some people out volunteering with you and with some of the other orgs that Rini's mentioned. So that's what we've got for tonight with a fairly short meeting. Mary Lou, great to see you and again, or connect with you again, and Leah, you too. Next month, I'll just tell you this: we're planning on a little bit of a after the election recap. So that should be a kind of a political oriented Zoom meeting. We're targeting the Tuesday, the 17th, which is the week before Thanksgiving. We wanted to stay away from Thanksgiving week. And so we're going to have to do that on a Tuesday that week. So targeting Tuesday, the 17th for our next Zoom meeting, which would be kind of an election recap. Rini, Steve, Carolyn, any other comments? Questions?
Just one that Karen mentioned, not to forget Carolina Thread Trail. I will add that to the PowerPoint.
Please do. Some of you may know, I volunteer as a trail master with the Carolina Thread Trail. I was out there at Stevens Creek way back when they first started. That activity kind of fell by the wayside after they cut the trail with the machines. But I was out there kind of helping them lay out the trail path before they did the cutting with the machines, but haven't been back out since. So looking forward to getting back out there and seeing what that's all about as well. So yeah, Carolina Thread Trail and Catawba Land Conservancy are great places to go volunteer if you want to get some trail work in. I highly recommend that as well. All right, guys. Thanks a million, everybody, and special thanks to Karen. And peace, love, trees. See you guys next month.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Okay, bye now.